Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome once again to Happy Hours of Coaching Session. This is your host, Ashutosh here. And yeah, first of all, season's greetings to all of you. It's a festival time. I'm sure many of you would be taking breaks from your work schedule, visiting places. So do stay healthy, stay safe. Yeah, I mean, we are in a season's greeting mode, and suddenly that news has come up, right? That suddenly the COVID cases are again increasing, not of course in India, but across some of the Eastern Asian countries where the cases have suddenly showed a spike up. So do take care of that while you enjoy your period away from office. And once again, welcome to this interesting session. I have with me my ex-colleague Mahesh Varadharajan. And what should I say about Mahesh? Yes, he's an SPCT. Recently, he became SPCT. He has been a thought leader and agile coach. I happened to work with him in one of the engagements a long time back. So it's first of all very excited to invite my old work colleague and friend. And of course, apart from that work relationship, we do meet in a lot of conferences and all. And he's going to talk about a very insightful topic about lean portfolio management. I'm sure all of us are excited about this topic. What exactly is this topic all about? But I'll just take few more seconds before I hand over the baton to Mahesh. This is about me, Ashutosh Bhattodekar. I am also an agile coach working with leading organizations in transforming their ways of working. If you are interested to watch this video and also more such videos, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm just sharing the QR code there of the YouTube channel. In any case, I'll be sharing it once again towards the end of the session. There's also a LinkedIn connection which is there. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to have connected with all of you. And on that note, I once again take the podium back to Mahesh. And yeah, so Mahesh, as I said, is going to talk about not just about lean portfolio management, but he's going to talk about the practical insights on safe lean portfolio management. And without any further delay, I will hand over to Mahesh. Mahesh, you can take it over from here. And yeah, I'll give you the rights to share the screen so that you can present something. And once again, thanks for accepting our invite.
Thank you, Ashutosh. I hope everybody can hear me well.
Yes, perfect. Yes, we can hear you. Mahesh, we are now not able to hear you.
Now?
Hello, Mahesh? Yes,
Yeah.
hello. Yeah, we can hear you now. And we can also see the screen. Great.
Can we get started, Ashutosh?
Yes. We can get started. Can you hear me?
Yes. And how much time do I have? 40 minutes?
Yes, you can take 40 minutes. That should be fine.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Ashutosh, for inviting me to this great session and community here. Before I begin, everyone, maybe one of the assumptions I'm going to make here is that people in the call are fairly exposed to the SAFE framework, right? Even if you are not an expert, at least if you have some basics or understanding of SAFE. So Ashutosh, what do you think? Is that a good assumption, or you believe there could be also some beginners to SAFE here, or
Yeah,
people
there
who
could
have
be
no
some
idea?
beginners, which is okay. There could be some beginners, but I'm sure most of us would have heard this word safe. I'm pretty sure we might not have digged into the literature. We might not have visited the website, but I'm sure they would have heard. And I think it's a fair assumption to make. And yeah, in case anyone has not heard, please let us know in the chat and we'll try to simplify it. But I'm assuming that, yes, folks would have read about it and
Let's ask the
read about it.
yep. Let's ask people. Can you raise your hands through the Zoom reactions button? If in case you are new to SAFe and you regard yourself as a beginner, that I'm novice to SAFe, just to help validate the people in the room.
I think Sukhwinder Singh is raised a hand that he's a beginner. Okay, Sridhar is saying he's an SPC. So obviously, Sridhar, yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
All right, looks like we have few beginners. That's what the at least few of them. So what I'll do is I'll set some context, but then um, I'll try to simplify as best we can, right? But
Correct,
it
correct.
would
Yeah.
definitely be more complimentary and insightful if you have a solid experience on SAFe and you have at least done some team level and ARC level practices. And this is something that's not new to you. Let's start. In many organizations, you may see this gap between strategy and execution, correct? Here is what the scenario says. 93% of employees do not understand strategy and 37% of the revenue targets are lost due to the misalignment. How many of you can connect to what we are seeing here? Either in my company, in the products and solutions you build or you deliver, you support, either we lack understanding about our product vision, our product strategy, the enterprise vision, or the way each one of us understand within the broader organization, the definitions are so very distinctive. In other words, there is lack of shared understanding. I wish I want to do something, but I end up pooling all the resources to get something else done. Lack of alignment. Therefore, what is in it for us? Having an excellent strategy may be one starting point, but actually getting that strategy realized, that is where the success mantra is. Many of us know whether it is, let's say, COVID containment. I may bring in all the great scholars into a room and plan for how do I contain the spread of this respiratory disease across my entire country. But do you think strategies are getting realized sitting inside the boardroom? Obviously not. The actual implementation or realization of the strategy happens outside the boardroom, outside the CXO's office. And only 8% of leaders excel in both of them. The question is, if you are one such leader who is being tasked with, not just coming up with a strategy, but also realizing that, would you be able to do it effectively? What are some challenges that companies do face? If you see the challenges in the way we are managing portfolio in the traditional manner, even with the advent of lean agile practices, in many organizations where implementing agile practices is still confined to only teams. Maybe with the scaling concepts, okay, now you have team of teams aligned to a shared goal, but all that we do is only the execution side of agile practices. Meaning what? Planning and executing the work, nothing more, nothing less. If you talk about funding model, traditional way, status reporting, traditional way, managing operations, traditional way, governance, traditional way, doing the planning. When we say planning at the overall portfolio level, demand capacity management, traditional model. And if we do big portfolio planning upfront, but your execution model is iterative and incremental, how far you think it can take us? It can only go, maybe take us so far, not necessarily help us succeed or win. Um, Ashutosh, is it okay if I can ask questions that people can unmute and answer? Is that okay with you?
Yes, yes, yes. We can do that. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Now imagine when you have a great strategy, like let's took a very generic example on minimizing the spread of this disease in this winter season. When you see them cases spiking, do you think anybody who's sitting in the boardroom or in the prime minister's office, they make the strategy and communicate to all the states, all the chief secretaries of all the states, get the instruction from PMO's office in a centralized manner and just roll it out like a one size fits all?
So I think, Mahesh, you went on mute. You'll have to unmute. Yeah.
No, I just got a notice that the host muted everyone.
No,
Sorry.
no, 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 no. Sorry. Continue, continue, continue.
Sorry. And you think that it can still work? How many of you support that cause? Okay, the cases are spiking. Let us start doing the COVID test for all the international travelers who arrive to my cities, or all the people. Let's say if I live in Chennai, anybody who comes across or returns to Chennai from another state within India, let's go ahead and do mass screening and mass testing. Do you think is that the way it's going to work?
Yeah, folks, you
Hiren,
can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and speak
Hiren
if you want
Pandya,
to
I
speak.
see a lot of great stuff from you. Want to speak up?
Yeah, this is fantastic. Certainly the COVID is trying to get into the mainstream now after a lull of about 2 quarters.
Hmm.
So to your point, right? See, definitely strategy emanates from so-called quote unquote ivory tower. I would not really like to use that term, but boardroom would be an appropriate term. So the executive definitely has to lay out this strategy because executive has the responsibility of protecting the citizens, you know, of the country. So I'm especially talking about the case that you just described. But however, all the state agencies and the departments, they have the role to play. Now, when the strategy is created, drafted, announced, and all that, first and foremost thing is about the communication protocol, affixing responsibilities, and clearly outlining the execution. Say, for example, in the strategy, there has to be clear delineation in terms of prevention, cure, treatment, depending on what stages are encountered, what kind of cases and at what stages they are encountered or discovered. Accordingly, they have to clearly give out health ministries, as you said, health secretaries in every state. Fortunately, I was part of one of the committees here in Gujarat state. I was fortunate enough to join one of the government committee where we were asked to provide our inputs for containing, first of all, so we had to give inputs for containment measures. Then we had to provide inputs, how the last mile, how to the last mile, the far-flung villages and all that, this spread can be contained, can be cured if there are cases detected, how we can provide traceability and all that. It was a mammoth thing. It took almost 6 months to put everything in place in order. So
Absolutely.
it's a very challenging task. It doesn't, I mean, for a country of our size and scale and vast population to cover, it's mind-boggling. It's a humongous task. You know, uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that,
Thanks
Hiren.
for allowing me to speak. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
It's our pleasure that, to hear from your on this in this example. Let's say even in 2020 or 2021, Hiren and others, if you had watched the news about this article called, the IAS officers or the collectors who had some medical background into their profile and who were in the administration helping the government or working with the government to contain the spread, identify where things are spiking up and helping minimize the spread. It was established that although the strategy is given, when people understand the why and what, and they are able to figure the how that works for them, things get better. Imagine if in the containment or thing, I cannot lock down the entire country all the time. We cannot do demonetization every year. We probably cannot say let's lock down entire state, entire city. It's going to be contextual. And when I try to do that local optimization, does that mean I kind of take the focus away from the countrywide goals that we are looking at? Not necessary. It doesn't mean that when you do not lock down, you're not focused on minimizing. You're rather saying wherever is the problem, I will focus there. Right? For example, if I have a problem in my heart, I only operate that heart. I don't cut across the stomach. I don't probably hurt my hand. And in many organizations where you see this traditional approach to running organizations or managing portfolio, where there are still a lot of silos. Imagine you want to get a product development started. You need people, you need funding, you need systems, you need infrastructure, so on and so forth. And getting any one of these resources is a nightmare for you. Pulling people from nook and corner of the organization. Why? We probably operate in functional silos. Everybody is, there is a software development organization, there is a quality engineering organization, lean user experience team, database administrator team, and there are other support functions, HR, legal, finance, sales and marketing. Everybody is needed to deliver value to the customer. Each is bothered about their own piece of what's going on. And as opposed to funding projects, how would it look like we start funding value streams? In SAFE, the way we operate is, many of you may be aware, we use the term called dual operating system model. Let your hierarchy remain as is, stay as is. We are not saying when you move on to a lean agile approach to running your organization, we do not need managers, but rather we shift the role of the leaders to do other things that they probably can help organization still manage systemic things. So instead of funding projects, can we organize people around value streams? Value streams are like a virtual organization, right? There may be people across the company part of this value stream, sometimes even multi-vendor. Take Marutis of the world. If they produce a car, a manufacture a car, do you think Maruti produces all the raw materials? Maybe not. They procure them from various raw material suppliers. They only do assembly of the car. And that raw material supplier can be one vendor, one or more vendor, just like an IT organization. But for me to actually deliver value to my customer as Maruti at the rate that I desire, my agility is dependent on my supplier agility. Therefore, in a value stream, you pull everybody together when you form a value stream. And in order to really have alignment between strategy and execution, I must fund right things in the right time. Timing is very important. If I need money to contain the spread of the disease in this particular district, taluka or area, I need resources to pull that across. And if I'm a collector, a district collector, and I wait for 10 days to get some approval or the money to do that implementation, it's already beyond control. So big upfront planning or creating one-time plan, blindly following or executing that plan. That's the classical waterfall approach that we are all used to. Whereas in SAFE, we stop funding projects and we start funding value streams. And one of the activities we do at a portfolio level, a planning event to decide what epics get funded, when, how much funding, at what point in time, we run an event called participatory budgeting. So participatory budgeting is an event you do twice a year to secure your value stream budgets. And it is also done in a community fashion where you pull representatives of each and every value stream, business people, product manager, a technology leader, an architect, all come together to help understand, okay, given this epics that are coming our way, what's the right thing to fund? And if we do an epic X over Y, how closer we become to realize the goal of our company. Therefore, instead of centralized planning, we do a decentralized demand management. In order to track the implementation of an epic, we establish a portfolio Kanban system. You are able to figure out, okay, epics are getting into my funnel. What happens after they get into the funnel? Somebody should analyze, somebody should review. We should write a business case. We should secure funding for the epic. And then during the implementation, we build the minimum viable product, validate that MVP. And now you go back and ask your customer, given the MVP, how happy are you? If they say, sure, please continue with the remaining implementation. Let me complete the full implementation of that epic. Move on. And this model is aligned with what we call the lean startup thinking, where you just build good enough to validate your hypothesis, learn, and based on that feedback, you make your decision tree. Should probably I pivot? Should I persevere? Or do I stop development? Pivot means that maybe you are realigning your direction. I got some money. I validated my hypothesis. Let's say whatever my assumption was, this is not proven. Maybe instead of retail customer, if I had focused on corporate customer, my credit growth would have become better. Let's realign a new customer segment. Persevere, MVP is proven. You have proven that this idea is worth funding more. Continue the development. And if you think no further investment is needed, stop development. So you see how it's kind of incremental, outcome focused, and rather than getting the entire funding for whatever be the long duration of the project. And as opposed to phase gates, we are going to have self-managing arts. We create some objective milestones to track and measure our progress. So here you see what a safe LPM looks like. The goal is to achieve business agility. My ability to respond to change should help me stay competitive. Correct. If I'm a telecom company, I think in 2022, 5G spectrum auction happened. Correct. Airtel and Vodafones of the, our world, they kind of bid for the 5G auction. They are going to probably already rolling out 5G services in the Indian telecom market. But if my goal is to help launch 5G in India by 2022, and if I don't do that, if Airtel do not make the first move, Vodafone does not make the first move, who else will? Maybe in this market, you do not have too many bidders and competitor, but there are other markets where other businesses where competition is abundant. I do not want to become Nokias and Blackberries of the world. Only if, I want to run my shop, yet parallelly grow the shop. How can I help sustain my business while keeping the lights on? Which means this can only happen if my strategy and execution enable growth, not just for today, but for tomorrow. And in order to achieve that growth, we have roles who help like epic owners and enterprise architects to coordinate the flow of work. We create some strategic themes. What are some focus areas? Imagine now, did anybody watch the latest news? What Tata Motors plans to do? They plan to launch electric vehicle of Tata Nano sometime in 2023. This is a strategic theme. They have a great vision. They do not want to compete, with the, Marutis of the world, maybe in the price points that they are leading, which is like 3 lakh or a 4 lakh plus car. Maybe my target is 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, less than 3 lakh type car, maybe a 2 lakh price point. Let me become the number one leader in the passenger car segment in less than 2 lakh price point. And through that, if I attain, let's say 50-60% market leadership, this is the total potential of the market. My revenue in my Tata Motors company would grow by X% year over year for the next 5 years. Great vision. Does it help you achieve growth, top line, bottom line? Of course, yes. Now, how do I achieve that? Create backlog. And then in order to implement the backlog, we need money. Let's do the budgeting. What is that process of budgeting called? PB, participatory budgeting. Participants of this budgeting are a community of people across value streams. What do they decide? What epics get funded? How much funding? And whether they all get fully funded, partially funded, and so on. And what is the objectives of this funding model? It must be flexible. Unlike traditional ways to run portfolio or manage projects, oh, you are a 1 year or a multi-year, let's fund the entire project to get started. We give you funding maybe for only 1 or 2 program increments at a time, aligned to the goals you are committing, aligned to the KPIs you seem to be promising, which is aligned to how Tata can help launch electric vehicles in the Indian market by, let's say, mid 2023. Your solution KPI should be aligned to my business goal. Absolute alignment. So instead of aligning the funding to a feature or a story or an epic, how do I align it to some goal, business goal? Go back and start executing. And I'll talk about some LPM events or ceremonies to manage how does this happen. Let's take an example of a bank. In a typical bank, what are some portfolios you are familiar with? What are some types of work they do? Could be a credit card. Anybody else want to unmute and speak up? Deposits, correct? Mutual fund,
Yeah, payment collection,
collections, loans,
loans,
then demat account, trading accounts, mutual fund, insurance. There are so many cross-selling they do these days. Yes or no? If you take HDFC Bank, HDFC credit cards is not the same company, but it all comes under the same radar. In a small company, whenever you call something as a portfolio, may ideally have one portfolio or few portfolio. Whereas in a big company, you will obviously have multiple portfolio for each line of business. And within each portfolio, there may be multiple solutions. Let's take example of loan. What are some types of loan solutions you guys are familiar with?
Housing loan,
Personal loan, home loan,
house,
then
home loan,
car
car
loan. So do you see how
mortgage
many
loan.
solutions there are possible? Each might contribute to your business growth year over year. Yes or no?
Yes, gold loan.
Gold loan. Now the question is, let's say if credit is my portfolio, whatever growth this credit portfolio brings or the loan portfolio brings, the lending portfolio to HDFC Bank for fiscal year 2022-2023, how does it help achieve the larger organizational strategy? How much your net worth of your bank or your company should improve? In the competitive landscape you operate, how much acceleration have you gone? What strategic themes are you realizing? Oh, I'm a Tata Nano. Yeah, in 2023, I have launched Tata Nano electric vehicle. Wow. And because of that, my goal of realizing, let's say 10% growth is there through the sales of this product. Hiren, you want to say something?
No, I just have a question. I'm not sure whether this is the right point, but talking about this portfolio budget, right? This case study about HDFC Bank and a particular division. See, they also have their own market, right? Yeah, they need to align to the larger org business goals. Like Tata Sons is a big enterprise, right? They are internationally present. They're into many geographies and all that. So this should be tied to, you're right, this should be tied to the overall larger organization goals. And plus, they should have done their own strategic analysis that year on year, what kind of growth we are anticipating, what kind of market segment we are in, what new market segments we need to approach or enter into, depending on whether your strategy is aggressive or, as I said, right, pivoting and.
If you don't mind, can you state your question, Hiren?
Yeah, so the question is that in this whole game, how does this portfolio budgets get aligned? That was my question to the overall enterprise, because everyone will be vying in with their proposal, with their
Huh,
strategic
I got it,
vision
got
and
it,
mission. Yeah, yeah,
got it. See, while I'm not going to explain in detail how participatory budgeting works, because that will become like a training here, but I
absolutely.
can tell
No,
you
yeah,
here, this is all the inputs of first, I need my enterprise strategy, right? Without knowing what I'm going to do. If you do your personal finance planning, I first set my financial goal. I do my risk profiling. I create milestone. And then I come up with ways to achieve that goal. Correct? So first process is goal setting. Once goal setting is done, I come up with strategy to achieve that goal. Once that strategy is decided, each portfolio, if the total IT budget, let's say, is $100, each portfolio within that IT organization is going to compete for that budget. How do they allocate that budget? The more you are aligned to the larger strategy, you get a larger pie. There is no rocket science behind that. Now, let's say the credit portfolio gets $50. Now, how do they allocate this $50? That is where strategic themes comes. Strategic themes influence funding decisions or any activity you do within a portfolio. Okay, now I am a kind of, I'm going to bring up with a new credit card, maybe for my elite or premium customers. And my hope is that my hypothesis is this is going to help me maybe retain existing customers as well as maybe capture the market by another 5% more year over year, which overall contributes to the credit growth by X% or Y%. That's the kind of alignment you do.
got it,
And based upon that, we say, okay, what are some epics? There are multiple epics. Okay, show me which of this is closely aligned to this growth. Let's get them funded first. Let's move on to the next. Okay, how about this? Oh, this is not aligned. Sorry, we don't fund you. Let's move on to the next. Oh, it is there, but partially it is aligned. Oh, you get partial funding. So how long does this budgeting exercise go? Until I exhaust $100 on the plate. Because that's my overall budget in hand. What do I do next? So in SAFE LPM, the 3 collaboration opportunities are, whenever we talk about lean portfolio management, how do I realize my enterprise strategy? By funding right things in the right time. The way I govern the organization, that is aligned to lean thinking, eliminating waste, and the way we manage our business and IT operations, that is aligned to agile principles, agile portfolio operations. So what I'm going to show you now is a broader area on what strategy and investment funding is all about. Whenever we talk about strategy and investment funding, first, once imagine goal setting, then carve out enterprise strategy. How do I achieve that goal? Now, in order to achieve that goal, in my portfolio, what is something I should do? Okay, I must maybe launch a Tata Nano. I must come up with a new insurance product. Kotak recently, if you see, they came up with a kind of product called wealth maximizers, for example. How do I achieve that? And in order to realize that vision, I create epics. In order to implement that epic, I need money. That's what is the process of allocating money? That activity is called participatory budgeting. And I set some guardrails to manage money and funding allocation. To track the life cycle of the epic and manage the flow of the work, I create a portfolio Kanban system. Oh, here are items in the funnel. Analyze, review, implement the epic, done. So once an epic enters the funnel, how soon can it be done? What is blocking it? What is slowing it? How long does it take to get this epic realized? Cycle time. So I want to make sure my demand for the work is aligned to whether I am focusing the right things in the execution. Oh, I want to actually build a Tata Nano electric vehicle, but I'm actually, my execution is spending that money on something else. Lack of alignment. Or the team that is allocated to build electric vehicle of Tata Nano is actually defocused in building something else. Therefore, your strategy execution not in alignment. How do I fix it? Next, work has started. How do I take care of portfolio operations? In a portfolio, you are dealing with a lot of people, lot of products, lot of solutions. I need to coordinate work across so many value streams. I need to manage so many programs. Just because I operate at scale doesn't mean I go back to waterfall way. Oh, you want people? Wait 90 days SLA. You want some tool? 60 days. If I do that kind of work, that doesn't work. How do I support agile portfolio operations? So we create roles like LACE, Lean Agile Center of Excellence, who take care of strategies, and APMO, who manages the execution, Agile Program Management Office. These two work in close collaboration to get the strategy implemented. For example, your RTEs and Scrum Masters may probably be part of the APMO organization, working together as one cohesive team to help realize the strategy in the execution. Governance. If I keep asking what is called watermelon or traditional metrics, I call it RGY. Everything looks green outside, deep red inside. Or the way I ask for status reports, traditional waterfall way. No, I don't care what you do in 2 weeks, what you do in 10 weeks. Tell me how well you're doing with regards to next 1 year goal. Show me whether you can achieve really the next 1 year goal or not. Every 2 weeks, people are going mad. I have not committed beyond 10 weeks. These people are asking me to say whether next 1 year goal is achievable or not. Are they gone mad? We don't do that. So your governance should be aligned with your execution principles. That is lean governance. Otherwise, you create waste. People are creating slides just because you want it. So how do we manage this show? I create some ceremonies, just like at a team level, you do iteration planning. At a portfolio level, we do half-yearly planning, which is called participatory budgeting, where funding decisions will be taken. What epics will get funded when? What happens next? Daily stand up once planning is completed. So what is the stand-up activity? I do a monthly portfolio sync. How closer or farther in achieving the goal? What next? I do a quarterly strategic portfolio review. Teams do every 2 weeks iteration review. Portfolio does quarterly strategic portfolio review. So what are the three events? Portfolio sync, participatory budgeting, and strategic portfolio review. One which is half yearly or after every 2 PIs. Maybe if PI planning is, let's say, end of January, the recommended period is at least you maintain 1 month before the next PI planning. Why? I need time to make the change. Then I do a monthly portfolio sync and a quarterly SPR. How do I start my LPM implementation? You understand there are two ways, right? In any transformation, I can wait for my heart to actually not stop working or stop beating and then go into my intensive care unit. That is one way. Burning platform. House is already in fire. The other approach is proactive. Make your choice. But in any transformation, alignment is the first step. What's the problem you are trying to solve? What is the purpose? Define. Who is going to be a part of that implementation? Get them on board. Is the leadership aligned? Then organize, plan your work. Then you need to have strategies, how you are going to roll out the shift. Then you start executing the transformation with the help of APMO and LACE. Then you have a governance model, and to further learn and adapt or inspect and adapt, we have a measure and grow. In the last 10 weeks, have you made one bigger shift in the way you were running your portfolio earlier, which means what are some outcomes you are now bothered? So you measure what we truly call outcome focused, business outcomes focused. So if you want to see some examples, let me show you some. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we are seeing the PPT only, Mahesh. Now we can see. Yes, now we can see.
See, lean portfolio metrics. What you measure, what matters the most. Employee engagement, customer satisfaction, partner health, business agility. I want to know time to market. How many release frequency is a measure. What is the cycle time? In a 2 weeks iteration, on an average, I'm taking 15 days to complete. That means every unit of work, it is taking 1.5 sprints to get it delivered. My program increments are 10 weeks, but on an average, my past data says my average feature completion time is 12 weeks. That means in one PI, you are not even able to get one feature completed. Learn from the data, optimize. How is your defect trends? Technical debt. So measure what matters. Now, question you may ask, what are some then practical problems if you will see if you don't do this lean portfolio management? PI execution started. PI length is 8 to 12 weeks or typically 10 weeks. So for the next 10 weeks, you brought team of teams to commit on a goal. They all go back and start working. Your commitment is driven by 10 weeks capacity and assuming this team of teams will stay. Middle of the PI, within one team, 2 people vanished. Why? Sorry, we are running short of budgets. Cost cutting. Next iteration, one team is cut. No, something is slowed down. We are realigning or repurposing this team to something else. Hey, we have to launch Tata Nano electric vehicle by mid-June 2023. Come what may, that is our plan. But you have now realigned this team for something else. Strategy is something, execution is something. How does that work? No, agile is for teams. So we have to do, they have to keep doing anything we do, anything we change. Yes, but agile does not mean you are not purpose aligned. I plan to build actually a nano, but actually ended up building Hyundai Creta. That is not what agility is. You really want to be outcome focused. So I have seen organizations that focus on execution side agile practices over and over without forgetting if the situation changes. Take the example of 2020 when the lockdown happened and countries and economies were locked down. Car loan became online. Many things became online. Everything became web-based or app-based. In many of the companies, your portfolio planning suddenly got repurposed to how everything can be enabled. I don't want my employees to work from office. I don't want customers to visit my premises. How can, therefore, I realign my repurpose my funding to enable this shift? And if that strategy changes, how sooner the execution can adapt? Because end of the day, who is delivering working software? None other than the agile teams. If my funding model is not flexible, if my strategy changes, my execution, how fast can I adapt to the change, deliver that result so my business grows? If I say, no, I will not adapt, what will I happen? Next 2 years until lockdown is realized, go home, fire everybody. We don't want that to happen. That's where this kind of transformation makes a huge benefit. Questions? I'm not sure how much of value you guys derived in such a short span of time. Apologies if the content was overwhelming. I hope I tried to simplify as best as I could. It would be great to see all of you in the video.
Yeah, I mean, if people can come in the video, that would be great. And yeah, questions are welcome. You can unmute yourself, ask questions related to the topic, related to the content. Feel free to unmute and ask questions. And those of you who are on LinkedIn, yeah, I can see some of the questions, but yeah, we will. I'll make sure that Mahesh gets those questions. Yeah, but folks here, if you have any question, please feel free to unmute and ask questions. And yeah, I would be happy if you can come on camera also.
Human to
Mahesh,
human
Moha here.
interaction, no? Go ahead. Whoever is asking the question.
Yeah, so that was a wonderful session. For me, to be frank, it was a little bit overwhelming because it was a deep dive, and I see the both lean as well as safe putting together. So just trying to understand, since we were more focused on safe, I mean in general, and we also bringing up the lean. So how do we put it across together? Everything comes together.
Okay. See, the current version of SAFE, the theme of the framework is to help your business become agile enough or achieve business agility. And how do we help achieve business agility is a combo of 3 things. We imbibe the thinking or school of thought from lean, from agile, and practices of DevOps. Therefore, technical agility combined with lean agile thinking helps your business become agile. Imagine you want to operate a high-speed bullet train, but the capability you have today is operating a goods train. You wish you want a bullet train, but the technology or technical capability is goods train. That will not be possible. So is it sufficient you only have the technology SMEs? No. For the products we build today, we need lean agile thinking. How fast can you adapt to the change? How, you want to build things in small batches, doing only one thing at a time, eliminating waste. I can cook 100 menu items, but do I know my guest will eat all the 100? No. What if I cook 10 sweet things when I'm having a diabetic guest who's not going to touch any of those food items? You build wrong epics, wrong features without understanding your customer. Then how will that customer pay for that food? Obviously not. If only you took some time to understand, oh my God, I'm going to get a diabetic guest. Let me prepare some starter or a dessert that will cater to that customer segment. No, sorry, I have only this on my plate. At least now you realized I have to change. How fast now can you prepare one dessert, which is this guest can eat? That is your business agility. Otherwise, what happens? The customer will go to your competitor who can give him that dessert. Does your funding model enable that shift? The way you are running your company enable you to make that shift as fast as you can? That is what LPM tries to solve. Mohana, does that help you?
Yeah, Mahesh, definitely. Thank you
I'm
so
giving
much.
you very, layman example to
Yeah,
simplify
yeah.
things.
Yes,
So I hope that resonates with you.
definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Mahesh, you mentioned that about LPM, but in the industry, whatever you mentioned, it makes sense, but it doesn't happen, right? So it's very difficult, like to have all the events and all. Uh, it is rarely, I have seen in my career, rarely happens. And the second question I have, you have shown that measures like metrics and all, these are all projects-based metric or program-based metrics. How about the products?
Let me pick up your first question first. It does not happen. I disagree because we have been with companies who have gone through this shift. I'm sure you must have seen Jeffrey Moore's Crossing the Chasm.
Yes.
And where in this technology adoption life cycle, I'm sorry, my net is slow. Let me see if I can bring a different. You able to see this? See this
Yes.
view? Let me zoom in a little bit. You see that in any revolution or disruption that the world has witnessed, right? There is going to be kind of only 2.5% people who are innovators, 13.5% who are early adopters. And then you see remaining 34 and 34 are early and late majority. The question is, where are you? If you say I'm not adapting, is the culture of your organization, the way you think, the way you do work, are you a conservative? Are you an innovator? Take cloud. How many companies provide cloud solutions to the world? Google, Amazon, maybe Microsoft, Azure, hardly 3 companies. How many technology companies exist in the world? God knows. Let's say few thousands. Why not everybody do that? God gave everybody the same capability. Why not do that? Only why 2.5%? So in any disruption, there is going to be this curve. Make your choices. In any class, if you have kids, if there are 40 kids, why not everybody takes rank 1? Only few people. Because those people think radically and achieve things radically. They don't wait for world stories to be told. They make their stories to be told to others. That's why they are different. Now, the question for me is, should I wait for others to do or do it myself? It's a choice I make. There is a greatest equipment that can significantly reduce, let's say, a brain tumor surgery from 12 hours to 6 hours. Nobody has tried. Should I try? That's an individual hospital and a doctor's call. That requires investment. Yep. No pain, no gain. We all want results without trying or without going through the pain. That doesn't come.
Yeah, thanks.
What is your second question, sir?
My second question was on the metrics you have mentioned. These are all the project-based metrics mostly. How about the product organizations?
When you say product organizations, who asked the question, by the way, it would
This
be
is
great when
Shrikant.
you can be on the video when you ask. Who's that?
This is Shrikant.
Shrikant. What matters to you the most for a product organization? If I can ask you to describe in 1 or 2 words, what matters the most?
It's all depends, right? How I'm going, like,
That
if
is
you
a
look at,
consultant answer. I agree. It all depends in every company. What matters to a hospital will not matter to an Amazon. Agreed. Let's bring one context. You take your own company or a fintech company. What matters to you in that case? Or bring your own example. Shrikant, what matters to you?
now let's say I have to do, I have a supplier where I have to buy that completely. I have to do, let's say, acquisitions for bringing my value stream to the, or to meet my objectives of the goals. So I will not have, if I, this matrix won't show me that in which portfolio this will fit into. Or how can I measure that, okay, whether my acquisition is going to help me to that, how it is progressing and all. So
See, the
performance
metrics
measures.
I'm showing you here, Shrikant, this is what we talk about the flow metrics in SAFe.
Okay.
Okay. Flow captures. Flow means what? If you have a great idea, how soon can you get it done? Right? Or in your product development life cycle, how is the flow of work from the start until finish? Example like flow distribution. In each state, how much percentage items are getting worked upon? How many items are you able to churn in a given time period? Flow velocity. How long does it take? Flow time. How many work items you do in total at a time? Total work in progress. Flow efficiency and flow predictability. This is especially helpful to capture the flow. Now, if you talk about solution level, you can talk about KPIs that measure. Here in this case, take this example. They want to achieve a dominant position in an autonomous delivery market. Driverless car, Amazon delivery without humanless touch. I want to increase the market share from to 75% within 18 months. I want to increase my net promoter score, which is an indication of customer satisfaction, from 35 to 60. Very measurable results. My repeat business in a car company, customer retention is a key KPI. That KPI should improve by 80% from 60. Very clear, measurable goal. Yes or no? In
Yes,
quarter
sir.
1, how much? Quarter 2, how much? To do this, what we should do? That's the alignment you seek. Are you funding the right things aligned to these results you want to gain? If you do that, that's alignment. If you wish something, but you fund something else and do something else, that is lack of alignment. That is LPM.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Thanks, Mahesh.
I know we are at the top of the hour. Ashutosh, I let you help us understand how do we move forward. Should we stop here or
Yeah,
should we
maybe
take
we can
more
take one last
questions?
question if anyone has one last question. I mean, we can take. I know even Mahesh would be having some meetings. It's Friday evening, but anyone has any one last question? And yeah, you can always reach out to Mahesh later also. I'm sure many of you are already connected with him, so feel free to reach out. But yeah, anyone has got one last question which you would like to ask Mahesh?
I'm leaving my email
Ashutosh,
ID for you on the chat. Huh?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Ashutosh,
sorry. Yeah,
can I go ahead?
Go ahead,
yeah,
sir.
Vishal, go ahead, Vishal.
Yeah. So Mahesh, first of all, thank you so much for this session, and it was really great, and a lot of information we got here. Like just for the information, I'm a scale agilist, and I did work on the scale environments before, so I have a bit of idea here. But the biggest question always come into my mind, or I have seen in my career, that is like. Uh, to move to the scaled environment, like, is the agile understanding and on the comfort level on the agile platform, is that mandatory? Because I did feel that it doesn't go that well if I directly jump on the scale. So what you think on this?
Great question, Vishal. Short and sweet answer. It depends on at what point in time you see the doctor or you do the transformation. You are
Mhm.
already come to me with a stage 3 cancer, the treatment method will be different from somebody who is not yet in stage 0, but has a high probability of a cancer. Therefore, but at any cost, can I build a building without a foundation? Obviously, I cannot. Right? The foundations of Scrum, the foundations of empiricism, lean thinking are essential whether you build a single storied house or a multi-storied building. That thinking is essential to scale things up. But should I scale after 2 years or right now depends on the goal or the pain that you are trying to solve. And how many people need to travel along and come along to help you realize that goal.
Okay.
Know your world, figure your
Yeah.
path. There is no right time.
Yeah.
The time is
Okay.
you realize that I need to change. That's the right time.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's great. I'm sorry. Can I go with the follow-up question? Just a small one.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So like agreed, and I guess we're taking the same path. What you're explaining. So I don't know this Scrum is one of the terminology of the scale, but having multiple right now the like in my projects in my company, like I'm preparing that setup. That is like I'm working in a big with the team, big team, but not like the scale team, like 150 people or 200. They're like the 50 or 60 team member, but we are working on the one product. So I just tried that, like to a mini scale, I can call it. Don't know what is the right word for it. Mini scale. Is it the right thing, or I mean,
What are
looks
you
like it's
trying to
Satan
solve,
sort of.
Vishal? First of all, when you say you are mini scaling or macro scaling, what are you trying to solve? What's the
It's just
problem you're
like
trying to solve?
problem is like the big team is working on one goal, so making sure everyone is aligned and targeting the same goal. But the size is big because the product is big, but not like the big as scale. So like one agile team is not possible. So it will be multiple agile team working on the same goal, but cannot meet the minimum criteria of a scale framework. So that was the confusion. So we just decided to go with the mini scale.
Remember, Vishal, path can be different. Destination is the same. Are you able to reach your end goal today? Are your key outcomes, key KPIs being met? Is your customer happy? Are your people who build working software, employee happy? Is your attrition better than your competitor? What else matters?
Okay.
Frameworks are path to help you achieve your goal. Let framework not decide your destiny. Let the destination help you govern what practices you follow when. I'm not here to say, come what may, you must do LPM. These are natural approaches to solving problems for those who are operating at scale. Would you need scaling? I don't know. I need to know your world. Would everybody who have a heart problem has to go for open heart surgery? Not at all. Some things can be treated with tablets. Some things will need angioplasty. Worst case, open heart surgery. Some, even if I try to do ECMO, may die because beyond recovery. We need to be open and pragmatic.
No, I got it. I got my answer. I mean, and I guess that's great. Yes, I guess. Yeah, thanks for answering this. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Back to Ashutosh.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks participants for the wonderful questions everyone asked. And yeah, I know we are at the turn of the hour, and I'm just sharing a screen here. So once again, thanks Mahesh for this wonderful insight on a Friday evening, just before Christmas. This is just a small token of appreciation from our community to you. This is the least what we can do, but really thankful for this. I'm just sharing the screen here. It's I hope you can see the certificate which we are giving to you. Just wanted to make sure. Thanks a lot. I think for participants, once again, if you want to be a part of the community, if you want to know about these events, or you want to go through the recordings of the past events, do connect to my YouTube channel. We have the recordings. Now it's almost 125 plus videos which are there. So we'll be more than happy to have you connected on YouTube and watch those videos which will help you in your career. And yeah, any last words, Mahesh, from your side before we finally wrap up the session? Yeah, any last words?
So thanks to Ashutosh, first of all, without whom I will not be here. It's a great opportunity to interact and collaborate with all of you on a wonderful Friday evening before Christmas and New Year. How wonderful it is to end the year, Ashutosh, reflecting on what companies do and what's the right thing to think about as the new year is about to be born in few days. I think, although I come from Chennai, I think the world is small. So whether it's Chennai or Pune, uh, we all share common values and common principles. And together we can make this world a better place to live for all of us. I hope the session was informative. My apologies for those of you who were new to SAFE and had to digest some concepts in too short a time. I can totally empathize for what that shall mean for you. And those of you who need some follow-up support, happy to always connect it. My LinkedIn ID is shared. Feel free to connect with me. I would also like to hear at least from one or two people from the audience, your reflections, maybe in one or two keywords, if you were to talk about the feeling that you have after going through this session. It can even mean waste of time. What would you like to say about this session today?
Yeah, Mahesh, this is
Thank you,
Alex.
Mahesh. It is Manoranjan. It's a good learning from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoranjan.
Mahesh, can you
Others?
hear me?
And I am also from Chennai. I am from Chennai only.
Excellent.
We may
Okay,
meet.
Mahesh, can
It
you
was
hear
a
me?
wonderful session with a lot of
Mahesh,
learning.
Thanks a lot, Mahesh, for the wonderful session.
It was wonderful. Mahesh,
Thanks,
can you
thanks.
hear me?
Yeah, I think you can
Yep,
put in your
absolutely.
comments. Yeah, you can put in your
So
comments
Mahesh,
there, and yeah, in the yeah. So thanks once again, Mahesh, and yeah, wonderful interacting
Mahesh,
with all of you participants. Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you.